Is Apple the new Xbox? Here's our perfect Xbox app. Why is Xbox failing? Yeah, who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Maybe there won't even be video games anymore. I don't know. Maybe they'll be banned. Who knows? Right. Let's discuss.
Xbox Ready.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekend edition of Xbox Ready. I'm kind of switching it up this episode. Usually in this chair across from me sits Jimmy Champagne, but you'll notice that it is not Jimmy Champagne. This is actually Royce Atkins. He edits about 95% of the Xbox Ready videos, and he's in the midst of launching an Apple news channel dedicated to all things Apple, iPhones, iPads, Macs. Anything going on in that world, he is like an expert in, and it's going pretty well for him. I thought, hey, let's try like an Apple Xbox crossover event and introduce you guys to Royce, the man, the myth, the legend. How's it going, man?
Going pretty good. That was a great introduction. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Check out Royce's channel, youtube.com/@AppleNext.
And also, guys, I don't know if you've noticed my fancy new sign that I got in the background. YouTube sent me this, and at first I wasn't sure what it was for. YouTube Shopping is a new program for creators that lets them have their own stores integrated and makes it easier for people to buy directly from them. It also makes it easier to tag products that I'm talking about and embed them in the videos for you guys to check them out. We have links for this little like pencil holder right here that looks like an Xbox Series X. Was that right?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, cool.
Dope.
So let's hit the, so we did like the intro stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Apple and Xbox.
So yeah, man, I'm really glad to have your perspective on this. I've been like in and out of the Apple ecosystem for a little bit. Like I messed around with like a Google Pixel for a sec, loved it, but I just couldn't take getting clowned anymore, man. I just couldn't I went like with the crowd, I went with the herd, and I got the freaking. I went back to iPhone.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The's nothing wrong with that, and
Come
like
on over to the blue bubbles, baby.
It is really nice having those blue bubbles, man. It really is, and
discrimination's great. No, I'm kidding.
Bullying works. Nice. And yeah, we were talking about something cool off camera earlier, and this whole situation in Europe. I mean, Europe seems to be pretty kind to Microsoft and Xbox lately. They approved the Activision Blizzard deal, have potentially opened up a path for Xbox to get a standalone Xbox App Store onto iOS devices, which is crazy. I'm glad I have Royce around because he was able to explain it to me like I was a child. Like I had never freaking picked up an electronic device before. The whole situation where now Apple is being essentially forced to allow sideloading of apps.
Yeah, and because it's really interesting how Apple and kind of Xbox collide in this area in regards to the EU and like the regulations that have pretty much told Apple, hey, what you're doing is anti-competitive. Especially considering like the whole Epic Games thing and how they kind of regulate their app stores. So the EU pretty much has said, like, what you're doing with the App Store is pretty much a monopoly. So we're going to make it so you have to enable this feature called sideloading, which is just kind of like a more techie way of just saying that people will be allowed to download apps from outside sources that aren't the App Store.
Because for the longest time, they had been talking about making their own Microsoft Xbox Store app.
Yeah.
And like beefing that experience up. But the big question was, how? Like if freaking Fortnite could not be Apple, like how are you going to get your own stuff onto a freaking iPhone?
Exactly.
And this kind of opens up like maybe like at least in Europe. Do you think like, something like that could open up to other markets too?
Yeah. So, and that's what's interesting, right? So because this was an EU decision, it's really kind of just regulated for over there. But what I believe is going to happen is because when you look at Apple, their whole thing is they're really focused on making sure the experience of having an Apple device is the same across the board. That's what they pride themselves on. So for me, it wouldn't make sense if they just allowed this feature in just a certain market. where they could do it out of spite because they really don't want to do this. And some people have said that like, oh, they're just going to make it so it's only over there, and they're going to make it super strict, and they're still going to find a way to control it, which I'm sure they will find a way to control it if we're honest.
Sure.
But for me, I feel like, and how they've operated in the past, it wouldn't make sense to just have this feature enabled in just one section, because now the iOS or the Apple experience is now jaded. And that's one thing that they never want, right? If something works over there, they want it to work over there as well. So I do believe that this is going to be a feature that we may see in the new iOS 17 update that's going to be coming later this fall. I mean, their keynote, their Worldwide Developer Conference, WWDC, is happening within like the next couple of weeks in June. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use that opportunity to announce this sideloading feature and that they make it available everywhere.
So yeah, say everything goes according to plan, like you say, like sideloading is allowed, and frickin' Xbox is like, okay, let's do it. Let's talk our perfect Xbox app, my wish list, if you will, my demands.
Demands. Let's get into it.
All right. So I mean, I know the big focus is on like having a storefront for them on Apple devices, but for me, we got to take it a little farther than that, right? Like, I don't want like a store. Like, I don't need a store. Like, when it comes to an Xbox app, here's my major ask, my number one priority is unifying the Xbox experience. Because right now on my iPhone, I have 3 different apps for Xbox. I have the Xbox app, I have Xbox Game Pass app, and I have a shortcut for Xbox Cloud Gaming that is also like an app icon. Why do I have 3 apps for all like basically the same stuff? You know,
a lot of that is Apple's fault, though.
It's like, come on, yes, entirely, right? Entirely. So, like, if we were able to work out a situation where we can bypass that, go ahead and unify that experience and throw in the store.
Yeah, I think that would be great. You know, and that's what, for me, what I've wanted for the longest, because, you know, me being an Apple guy, I've loved Xbox since the first Xbox came out. Like, I was always an Xbox guy. I was team Xbox. Loved PlayStation 2.
He's just saying that.
I'm just saying that because I'll be on PS Ready saying I love PlayStation.
You're like, yeah.
No, I love
the receipts, buddy.
Right. No, I loved PlayStation. Don't get me wrong. PS2 literally blew my mind when that came out. But ever since the first Xbox came out and I played Halo Combat Evolved, it was game over.
It was done.
Team Xbox ever since then. Which is why I want Xbox, like, I want them to win. And I feel like they're not winning right now. They're struggling.
Oh, yeah? What makes you say that?
Now, what does it take to get gaming to its full potential?
The year 2030, when this deal with Activision Blizzard and Microsoft is finally approved. Like,
right.
We can finally move on with our lives. But they also get King Games, too, as part of that acquisition. Do you think Microsoft could, or Xbox could present a threat to Apple or the Google Play Store realistically as a competitor in the mobile gaming market? They go from like, cloud gaming isn't really a big hit on freaking iPhones. The demand isn't really there. Could that turn around with King Games in their pocket?
I think so. And I do think Apple's smart, right? Like, it's not just about like, oh, we don't want you to play games in the cloud. Like, they know what Microsoft's is. I mean, because of this whole deal, I think everyone knows what Microsoft is trying to do. Like, secrets have been revealed in this whole situation. So I do think they're kind of keeping a eye on that. And yeah, Microsoft has literally said, or Xbox, they've said that we want to make a huge push in mobile gaming, and, you know, having a Xbox branded, like, whether, because that's another question too. It's like, okay, once they get into mobile games, then are they going to like serve those mobile games through the Xbox app as well, or is that going to be a separate app, you know, just, you know, the Xbox mobile or something like that?
Yeah, and what happens to the King Games that are on the App Store?
Right,
already,
exactly.
You know?
I'm pretty sure like those get taken off. If Xbox isn't taking them off, Apple's kicking them out. That's for sure.
That's
so
crazy.
that's like a whole other kind of like gray area of how they handle that. And I guarantee you that if Xbox comes through and is like, hey, sideload this app that lets you download all these amazing mobile apps, Apple's going to be like, well, no. No.
Xbox Series X Gen 2.
So let's get into some straight up Xbox stuff. All right, let's get into some straight up Xbox stuff. So on an earnings call, the CEO, Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two Interactive, you heard of these guys?
I have.
Little, publisher of a game called Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
And 6.
So yeah, he mentioned by name the mid-gen consoles, and it was like because of his comments, like we're thinking, oh, are they coming out soon? Like we're already up into that point. What are your thoughts? Because every time I talk about the mid-gen refresh, someone gets mad and they're like, this is pointless, like this is stupid, blah blah blah. Like what is, like you said, you're an Xbox fan, day one, Combat Evolved, you were like, hell yeah, Xbox, let's go. What are your thoughts about a mid-gen refresh of the series consoles?
So mid-gen refreshes in general, the concept, I feel like, is wild. But again, let's just take it back to Apple, and not just Apple, but just like, tech, phones, computers, that world. The concept's not as crazy. Like a new phone comes out every year. You don't have to upgrade to that new phone, right? You can wait a couple of years, but a new phone comes out every year. A new laptop comes out every year. So tech is constantly moving and it never stops. Like that's how progress works, right? So from that perspective, a mid-gen refresh of a console, it's not crazy.
It's like every 4 years.
Every 4 years. And the thing is, it's like, there's like tech and things like that, Xbox and like even PlayStation, like they want to include probably everything that they could possibly include in that first gen of that console, but the tech's probably not ready yet. There's probably production issues, things like that. So they use that opportunity to be like, okay, well, now let's make the console smaller, or actually we can make it more powerful now to push all these other games that only run at 24 frames a second. So
$70, please.
$70 runs at 10 frames.
Well, I guess I'll wait a week for the patch.
Right, exactly. So I get that from a technological standpoint, and I think it actually is important to kind of like keep these things going, and they use it as a way to kind of address issues that come up with like that first gen version of that console. But as a consumer, I completely get it. It's like, I bought this console. I just let me have it and let me enjoy it until not the mid-gen refresh, but whatever the next Xbox Series 5000 or whatever it ends up
whatever
being.
Name
whatever name whatever it's going to be. Like, I bought this. Don't talk to me about another thing until the actual next generation thing is here. And like that's how it was. Like you had your I'm thinking back, like you had your Xbox, and then you had your 360, and then later on, like that's when they started to like experiment with like the different versions. But it's still, I don't know. I never got the feeling back then that it was like, hey, like get this
necessary.
Yeah, that it was necessary. It was just like, hey, we made this. Anyone want it?
Yeah,
type of thing. Where like now I feel like it's very aggressive to be where they're like, okay, we have the Series X, bam, but guess what? You're really gonna want the Series X Pro because now it can do this, and this, and you're just kind of sitting there like, but what about?
Yeah, I'm wondering what they could add that would make it like a must-have.
Yeah,
right.
Because this was already supposed to be the most powerful console.
Yeah, as we've seen, it's like most powerful console, but the games aren't quite matching that like all the time.
Yeah,
definitely not
exactly.
consistently. So like, what could they add? And we've heard almost like nothing when it comes to the Xbox mid-gen. We've heard tons of stuff about like the PS5 Slim. It's gonna have this like removable disc drive.
Yeah,
and, like they're gonna be doing all the stuff. It's gonna be like the similar SKU, but like this and that. But like nothing about the Xbox stuff. But we know it's out there.
Yeah,
we know that they have dev kits out there. So like, what features are they gonna have? Is it gonna be, like you said, is it just gonna be a design thing where it's like smaller, slimmer, who knows at this point? But what would you want it to be?
That's tough. I mean, well, I'll start off with what I don't want it to be. I think we're past the point of making things smaller and slimmer being cool. Like that's just my opinion. I feel like that was a selling point. And yes, this isn't the Series X, this is the fridge. So it's not this big. But the Series X is huge and the PS5 is huge. And if they just went the route and was just like, hey, here's a slimmer version of these consoles, I'm like, no, later for that. Like, phones have gotten bigger. People don't care how big things are anymore. You know, that's kind of like my general opinion on that, especially if it's like, if this thing is massive and it does everything that I want it to do, I'm not going to care. And so I feel like it needs to literally be, in order for it to be worth it, I don't know. It might need to come with a screen on it or something. I mean, like, there's a forget the Steam Deck. You could play mobile on your Series X with your Series X.
Great thumbnail.
Great, you know.
Great thumbnail.
That's obviously exaggerating, but like, I feel like there needs to be a real like standout feature out of, oh, you can play games a little bit faster, a little bit better, or even it's just like improved ray tracing and things. Like, don't throw these words out at me. Like, I don't care. Like, this needs to literally like blow my mind. Like, it pretty much needs. That's why I'm like, you need just release a new console that's just completely new. That's what I feel like I want the mid-gen refresh to be, just a new console. That's not the mid-gen.
No, not that one.
No,
the next one. You got anything in the back?
Like, if it's coming out, just give me the next thing that you guys got cooking up.
You kind of touched on this a little bit, but, you know, lifelong Xbox fan, even though you did sell your Xbox One, we'll forgive you for that.
Yeah.
I stuck because I couldn't afford to get a PS4 Pro. But, you know, it served me very faithfully.
Yes.
You know, it was imperfect, but I rocked with it for the whole generation. Lifelong Xbox fan, what do you want to see from Xbox going forward, and like, what do you think about like the state they're in right now?
I mean, I know Jimmy jokes a lot about this, but the main thing is I just want to see more games.
Jimmy jokes.
Jimmy jokes. But the thing is, like, they're making games, right? It's just either like they're having issues with the quality, they're getting delayed, so they have a lot of stuff like cooking up. I just want it to be finished. I want to eat it. You know, like it's still in that process. So I think
like we've been letting them cook for a while now.
When that's saying let him cook, like it's time to stop cooking. Okay, it's time to stop. Once you have like the Starfields and you know whatever this next like Halo game is going to be, that's Unreal Engine based and things like that. Like once you have like a solid lineup, you know for sure that it's actually done and ready. That's when, you know, you pop out and be like, hey,
the developer direct thing.
The developer direct. Yeah. So we know that that's happening. Use that as an opportunity, you know, a la Apple's keynotes, you know, so they, you know, they'll have their like, throughout the years, throughout the year, Apple will like drop like gems every now and then. Usually it's like software updates, but as far as like big announcements, like they save that for the summer in June and then the fall in September. And even though, and then we pretty much won't hear a word from them for the rest of the year, but people don't care, right? Because the fact that they only have those two events, it actually builds up more hype because you're like, oh, what do they got? What do they got? And then, you know, obviously it's like with rumors and leaks now, like you can't keep anything a secret.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's still like not coming from them, I feel like it gets everyone even more excited. So then when they do drop it, even if it's some basic stuff, we're like, yes. And then, you know, and Android's like, we've been able to do that for years. I don't care. I'm so hyped. So I think at this point in time, just the way things have fallen in line with Xbox, I feel like if they took a similar approach and just like said less and waited for these like showcases they're doing, you know,
so like, give us an like regularly update us on the things that are in the near future.
Yeah.
Maybe like you were saying, like on the projects that are further out, like just maybe just chill out on that
right,
for a sec.
Exactly.
And then the immediate stuff like Starfield in September, like let's do a bunch of updates regarding that.
Right.
Like key in on that.
And that opens up the opportunity too within all that hype to then pull like a hi-fi rush and be like, oh, by the way, there's this awesome game as well, and this is available today. You know,
like Elder Scrolls 6, it's out now. And you're like,
what? Exactly. Like people will go crazy over that.
I think that's good. Yeah. Great. Anyways, thanks again. But yeah, big shout out to Royce again. Thanks for joining and talking Apple and Xbox and all sorts of stuff. If you want to check out his channel, Apple Next, go ahead and do so to keep up to date on all. Well, you pitch it.
Hey, if you are someone out there, you like Apple, you want to hear more about what's going on in the Apple world, check out my channel, Apple Next.